Yeah, very good afternoon, Ishpreet, Kaushal, Tushar, Astha, Aditya, Lakshay, Shahid Chauhan, and Shreya. So, just expecting a very good presentation. This is the last presentation today we are having, and your course will also is moving towards the end part. I hope you have seen your assignment. Sorry, your marks for your quizzes on the portal itself. Soon you will be soon you will be given your assignment marks also. Okay. So yeah, Ispreet, you and your team please upload the presentation so that we all can just listen to you today.
Yes, sir. Just joining from my laptop. I've connected through phone.
Okay, but Ispreet, all these things you should have done a little bit before, na? Come on.
Yes, sir. Just joining.
So presentation is with you only or somebody
Yes,
else?
sir. I have the presentation. I have the presentation, sir.
Okay. I hope you have incorporated all the things which I have told
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very good. Fine then. Waiting for you.
Sir, is the presentation visible?
Yes, it is visible and put it on the full screen mode.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
A very good afternoon to one and all present. Today, me along with Kaushal and Tushar are here to present on the topic corporate fraud and crimes. I would I would start by asking if anybody knows what a exactly means. Would anybody like to answer? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, continue beta.
Yes, sir. So, would anybody like to answer what a fraud means?
अरे ये तो बहुत सिंपल है
A,
भाई. फ्रॉड क्या
a
होता है बताओ.
wrongful or criminal act.
Yeah, that's right. So, let me tell you the definition of corporate fraud. So, basically, a corporate fraud means occurs when a company or any entity deliberately changes or conceals any material fact which is important for the which is important for the people to know. They do this to make the company look a bit healthier. The company adopt various modus operandi, which means different ways to commit such corporate frauds, which may include misappropriation of accounts, uh, failure to put in the necessary information in the prospectus, debt hiding. They basically do this to make wrongful gains or wrongful losses. The main point of importance is that it must be done deliberately. So now the definition of fraud is defined under Companies Act 2013 under the section 447, which states that a fraud includes any act, omission, concealment of any fact or abuse of position committed by any person or any other person with the connivance in any manner with the intent to deceive or to gain any undue advantage from or to injure the interests of the company or its shareholders or its creditors or any other person, whether or not there is any wrongful gain or wrongful loss. Would anybody would like to tell what a wrongful gain or a wrongful loss means?
Smith, even you can keep on asking someone if you want to means ask specifically to anyone. You can just do that also.
Okay, sir. So I'll tell you the definition of wrongful gain. So wrongful gain means the gain by any unlawful mean by possessing a property which is not legally entitled to the person who has shown a possession of that property. And a wrongful loss means the loss by any unlawful means of property to which the person losing it is not legally entitled. The next point comes what makes a fraud a corporate fraud. So to make a fraud a corporate fraud, any wrongful act must be confined to the acts of the Companies Act and must be committed by any party to the contract. And the intention of that party must be to deceive another party or its agent from the contract or the performance of the contract. And it must be willingly committed to gain an undue advantage and must be for the benefit of the company and not for individual benefit. Whereas in normal fraud, it can be for a company or for an individual benefit, but in case of a corporate fraud, it must be for the benefit of the company and not for individual benefit. So now I would like to talk about the types of corporate frauds. It can be in terms of theft
Hold
of
on,
cash.
hold on. Yeah, Jamima, would you like to? I would like you to remind some of the corporate frauds which has happened in the recent past. Can you name some of them? Jamima.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you name up some of the recent fraud which has happened in the recent past, in the last 10 years or so?
Sir, Sahara Group.
Okay, what was the scene behind that?
The Kingfisher.
Okay. What else?
Enron, Enron Limited or something. It was in USA.
Enron happened not in India.
Yeah, it was not in India, but that was the like the main case law that actually led to like bringing corporate social responsibility and all that.
Okay, so what is if Enron you are saying, then can you tell me what is called Indian Enron? Which fraud is called Indian Enron fraud?
I forgot the name, sir. You tell that in almost every class. I forgot.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, no problem. So, can you just elaborate in two or three of the cases, two or three of the frauds which you have just now named? What actually happened in that? What is the variety of the fraud which is happening in the corporates?
Yeah, I remember Satyam Limited. Yeah,
Yeah,
in
Satyam is the Indian Enron case.
Yes. To exactly elaborate.
So exactly, elaboration will be done by Ishpreet. Don't worry about it. I just want to know what happened in the Nirav Modi's case, or in Kingfisher's case. What happened?
Just a moment, sir.
You are googling it now.
Not really, but I don't know exactly how to explain it, sir.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I have to Google.
No, it's mainly with embezzlement and all. Fraud.
Embezzlement was there, but what type of embezzlement it was? So just now, Ishpreet, go on the previous slide. Ishpreet, go on the previous slide, please.
So this one,
various types of frauds.
different types of fraud.
And there was also breach of trust, sir.
Yeah, that is for sure it is there. In every
Yeah.
fraud, there is a breach of trust. That's why it is called fraud.
Yeah.
Fraud cannot happen without breaching the trust. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
These are the various types of fraud which happens. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what type of fraud it was? With the what do you call is with Kingfisher?
False accounting, then bribery and corruption. There is a lot going on in the same this thing itself.
Fine. What else?
Um, Money laundering, sir. Money laundering.
Okay. Anyways,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
financial
Thank-
accounting misstatements is a given. It's there
Yeah.
in mostly every fraud. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jamima.
Yeah.
Thanks, John. Okay. Ishpreet, can you elaborate each of them?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So
Can
I
you?
would start by elaborating payment fraud. So basically, the payment fraud involves creating or diverting payments through different channels. Like I created a fake record of bank accounts for fraudulent payments. That can be termed as a payment fraud because I'm not actually paying that amount, but I'm showing as if I'm paying that amount to some other bank account. So next is false accounting fraud. So this type of fraud involves the alteration of the way in which a company accounts are presented to the public, like misstatements in the books of creditors or debtors, like something like that. So the next is procurement fraud. This fraud takes place when when the companies in the acquisition of some form of goods and services. Mhm. Now, false employment credential. This means creating false records of the employees, which are not actually working in the company, but they are being shown as an employee towards the company. Now, the payroll fraud means uh, falsely the amount which is to be paid to the employees is falsely depicted. Now, inappropriate journal vouchers is again a type of fraud, and the last one is financial accounting misstatements. So now the next point of discussion is how management encourages fraud. So management encourages fraud by like it fails to establish responsibilities and accountabilities towards the company, and also failure to deploy the required authority. Uh, it can also encourage fraud by misappropriation of goals and objectives, like showing high figures, but then not achieving their targets. And the next is there are no written policies or procedures. Uh, the separation of duty is also lacking in some companies. Like to curb this, we can use departmentalization so that a cost accounting department and a financial accounting department can be separated. Now, inadequate physical security for assets and records, lack of independent inventory of assets, inconsistent application of policies or procedures, and sometimes unfair treatment towards employers also leads to fraud. Next point of discussion, impact of corporate frauds on the company as well as the economy. So when the fraud comes to the notice of the people, the company can face high financial and reputational risks for the business, uh, and the fraud real and indulging in the fraud can also open doors to the lawsuits from aggrieved clients, investors, or others affected by the activities. Even after financial restitution is made, those involved with the business are less confident in their dealings with the firm. And the last, which has the most impactful impact on the economy, is recession. Now we'll discuss about the identification and investigation of fraud, which takes in-house investigation. It is mainly performed by the HR managers. they basically decide whether to bring in law enforcement agencies, a regulatory agency, and external audit teams, or or and they also decide if the fraud can be detected and clarified within the organization. Now, the benefits of in-house investigations are, since the HR managers have an inside depth knowledge about the companies, so they can morally impact the employees who are involved in the fraud, increase control over the investigation as well as the possible resulting publicity, an unfiltered view of the fraud and the extent of it can be detected using in-house investigations, and it will also prevent possible problems with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which is set up to control such frauds from happening. Now, with benefits come disadvantages. So the disadvantages of in-house investigation are lack of attorney-client privilege, insufficient training in carrying out fraud investigations, less objectivity than an external investigation, and possible conflicts between the company's well-being and management's professional obligations. So this was the end of my topic. Now Kaushal would take over. But before that, I would like to ask questions from the attendees. So the first question is, what makes a fraud a corporate fraud? Would anybody like to answer that?
The
Yes,
corporate fraud
Priyanshi.
is done.
Priyanshi, Naveen Chandlani.
Yes, sir.
Priyanshi Sharma, yeah, Priyanshi. So the first question is for you. What actually makes what makes it a corporate fraud?
So,
Yes, Priyanshi. Priyanshi,
yes, sir.
yeah,
So thinking.
answer is what makes fraud a corporate fraud? Is every fraud is a corporate fraud?
No, sir.
Then how it is different from other frauds?
So corporate fraud is something illegal that has been undertaken by an individual or a company.
Okay. So
And
for sure something illegal is happening, that is a fraud. All frauds are illegal things, but all illegal things are not fraud, no?
yes, sir.
So anything illegal will not be called as a fraud. So what actually is a corporate fraud? How it is different from the other frauds? Think
Sir,
it
your
out. Think
voice
it
is
out.
breaking.
You can answer this. Come on. Yes. Come on, come on. It's very easy.
So a corporate fraud is when a corporation purposely provides dishonest information with anything for a purpose
See, when
or
you are
to
taking
gain any
benefit of the,
advantage.
yeah, Abhigyan, we want to say? Abhigyan?
Yes, sir. Sir, when a person takes advantage of like sensitive or confidential information of the
When a
company,
person,
takes advantage of the sensitive information.
that is one thing. That is the insider trading, my dear.
So like it,
Confidential corporate information, when it is being taken advantage of, then it is something related to insider trading. Yeah, a step ahead of that. You are on the correct path, my dear. Yes, sir. Shreya.
So, an ordinary fraud can be the benefit taken by an individual or a company. But in the case of corporate fraud, it can be as the benefit taken by the company.
Okay. Yes, Ishpreet, what is your opinion?
Yes, sir, it is true that in case of a corporate fraud, it is only the benefit is only derived by the company, and it can be done by an individual also, but he will be acting on the behalf of the company.
Yeah, what I think is that when an individual take the benefits of the this separate entity of a corporate and try to make his own money at the cost of all others who are associated, at the cost of all the other stakeholders, then it will be called as a corporate fraud. Is it clear, everyone? Yes, Abhigyan, you want to say something? Yeah.
Sir, I want to ask, like, I have a question. Sir, is insider trading also a corporate fraud?
Sort of, sort of. But it has been specifically defined as an insider trading. So it is for sure a fraud because you are playing on others on the basis of the confidential information which you only know. So it is a fraud against all the stakeholders. So of course it is a fraud.
But it's mainly for personal benefits. So how can this be a corporate fraud?
No, it is a because you are just taking the advantage of the company's separate legal entity, right? And everyone else has deposited, everyone else has you can say invested money in it. So whatever advantage you are taking means a person who is doing insider trading, whatever advantage he is taking, actually this advantage belongs to everyone. So if the fraud would not have happened, the profits or losses whatsoever is arising out of that insider information, right, would have been distributed equally for amongst all. So why only one person will get benefit of having the possession of the information? If it is so, then it is a corporate fraud. It comes under the category because he is making fool of everyone. Na? What is fraud? Fraud is actually just taking the advantage, making distrust. It is a when the trust is not there, then we say it is a fraud. Okay, so you are and somebody who is a trustworthy, he is actually breaching the trust. Then we can say it is a fraud. That's why this corporate what you call is this insider trading itself comes under one of the category of fraud, right?
Yes, sir.
Abhigyan,
Yes, sir.
understood?
Yes, sir.
Have I answered you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, sir.
So second question is, what do you understand? Yes. Yeah. Am I audible or not?
Yes, sir, now you're audible.
Okay. Fine. So I was asking Karan Agarwal to answer. Karan Agarwal.
Yes,
Is
sir.
Karan Agarwal? Yeah, Karan Agarwal. Can you please answer this? What do you understand by a wrongful gain and a wrongful loss? Naveen Chandlani?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what do you mean by wrongful gain or wrongful loss?
Sir, wrongful gain which the person is gaining not legally, and wrongful loss, the person not losing it legally entitled. Hello.
Make it clear a little bit. Yes, Saurabh. Yes, Saurabh. You there, Saurabh? Shahid Chauhan. Yes, Shreya, you answer this.
So, the term wrongful gain means that by unlawful means of the person gaining the property which is not legally entitled, and the term wrongful loss means that the person losing the property which is legally entitled to him.
Yeah, property means it can be cash, it can be anything. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Ishpreet.
Yes, sir. So, sir, it is right. The next question is, who is liable to perform the in-house investigations in case of a corporate fraud?
Yeah.
It was discussed in the last slide, which I talked about.
Yes, Chaudhary. Yes, Chaudhary. Are you there? Anshul Goswami. Okay, carry on. Yeah, you just tell this answer. I think nobody else has. Anyone else who has just taken care of what is going on in the class and can answer this? Ishpreet, you continue.
The in-house investigation is performed by the HR managers of the company. Now I would like Kaushal to take over and discuss about the punishments which will be given in case of fraud under the Companies Act 2013. Kaushal?
Thank you, Ishpreet. Now I will begin with the punishment for fraud under Companies Act 2013. So, is there anyone who can answer me that what kind of punishment should be there under any fraud which is caused by any member or any person in the company? What kind of punishment? Can anybody answer me?
Penalty or like imprisonment?
Yes, it's correct. So, I will begin with the first. That is under Section 447, punishment for fraud is charged on any person who is found guilty of fraud. So the punishment is imprisonment for a term not less than 6 months, but which may extend to 10 years, and also liable to fine, which shall not be less than the amount involved in the fraud, but which may extend to 3 times the amount involved in the fraud. Next, under Section 448, punishment for false statement is to be charged on any person who makes a statement in prospectus. The subject matter is that any return, report, certificate, financial statement, prospectus, statement, or other document required by or for the purposes of any of the provisions of this Act or the rules made thereunder, and the punishment here is the same as the punishment under section 447. Next, the punishment for false evidence is under section 449 states that oath or solemn affirmation in any affidavit, deposition or solemn affirmation in or about winding up of any company under the Companies Act, and it is charged on any person who intentionally gives false evidence.
Ishpreet, where is section 449?
So section 449 is, I guess, the next section. Yes, sir.
So you should present that now.
Yes, sir.
Ishpreet, don't go here and there. Be here.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
your team is presenting, so there is a lack of coordination I can see.
Sorry, sir. I'll keep in mind.
Yeah, fine.
Sorry for the inconvenience, sir. The punishment under section 449, punishment for false evidence is imprisonment for a term which shall not less than 3 years, but which may extend to 7 years, and with fine which may extend up to 10 lakh rupees. Ishpreet, please change the slide. Under section 450, punishment where no specific penalty or punishment is provided. It is charged on a company or any officer of a company or any other person who contravenes any of the provisions of the act or the rules made thereunder. The subject matter is that fraud for which no penalty or punishment is provided elsewhere in the act. The punishment here is fine which may extend to 10,000 rupees. When the contravention is continuing, a further fine of 1,000 rupees for each day after the first during which the contravention continues. Next, under section 451, it is charged on a company or an officer of a company. The subject matter here is where the same offense is committed for the second or subsequent occasions within a period of 3 years. The punishment here is twice the amount of fine for which for such offense in addition to any imprisonment provided for that offense. So here are the some fraud and the defaulter. So I will be reading some. Under section 7, subsection 5, furnishing false information or suppressing material information, and here the defaulter is any person who does so.
Wait. So here a question can be asked in your exam. Then list down the frauds and the the frauds which the probable frauds which are listed under the Companies Act 2013, and who are the defaulters and what is the penal provisions regarding this. So this can be one of the question in your exams. Yeah, carry on.
Under section 8, affairs of the company conducted fraudulently, and here defaulter is every officer in default. Under section 34, misstatements in prospectus, every person who authorizes the issue of prospectus. Under section 36, fraudulently inducing persons to invest money, any person who does so. Under section 38, personation for acquisition, etc. of securities, any person who does so.
Wait. This section 36 for fraudulently inducing persons to invest money. If you just go in depth of this, you will find most of the mutual fund companies and insurance companies are doing this because they give a false information to the people, and the people do not study the document of investment, and they invest, and then afterwards they are not in position to recover the money. So people do not even know about that what type of fraud it is going on with them. Okay, so this is something which is very, very important and which you can see everywhere going on, because this in order to just increase their sales, they just give the fraudulent type of information to the person and ask him to invest in the company itself. Okay, yeah, carry on.
Next is under section 46 subsection 5, issuance of duplicate certificate of shares, every officer who defaults. Under section 75 subsection 1, company fails to repay deposits or interest, every officer of the company. Under section 206, business being carried out for fraudulent or unlawful purpose, every officer who defaults. Under Section 229, person required to provide an explanation or make a statement during an investigation furnishes false statement or destroys documents. Person who was required to provide explanation or make the statement is a defaulter here. Under Section 251, application is made for removal of name from register with the object of evading liabilities or deceiving or defrauding the creditors. Here, the defaulter is a person in charge of management of the company. Under Section 266, if tribunal concludes that an employee during the period of his employment with a company was guilty of any misfeasance, malfeasance, or non-feasance in relation to the sick company, here any person who is found so guilty. Under Section 448, a person who makes a false statement or omits a material fact in any return report, certificate, financial statement, prospectus, etc. Person who makes such statement are found guilty here. Next. Next is the measures to curb corporate
So
fraud.
actually, I wanted to give you an assignment over here to just list, because just now who is the person in default has been for each of the frauds, so-called frauds. Some are not frauds even, but still, if there is any penalty, has not been discussed. So I would have given you a list which I would like you to prepare for all the penalties for each and every fraud. But I am not giving you this. This is one of the important questions which can be asked, right? So prepare it from the point of view of exams. Okay, what are the various types of fines and penal provisions of the Companies Act regarding the various frauds which are listed in the Act itself. Okay, because I understand it's the high time for you to go with your remaining presentations and all that. So you keep on carry on doing that. So, but this is one of the things which you must know and remember, right? Carry on.
So my next question here arises is that can anyone tell me what are the measures to curb corporate frauds? Can somebody please tell me what are the measures to curb corporate frauds?
Yes, Abhigyan.
Sir, like having strict laws and like increasing the penalties.
Yeah, that can be one. And if you, this is actually from the point of view of government. So being in companies, how can you just ensure that the frauds are reduced? So that is one. So what are the root causes of the fraud actually will point out that how can you reduce them? Yeah, we can. Any comment on that? You are very correct that from the point of view of government, if we increase the penalties, which has already been increased in the previous Companies Act, the penalties were not this much high. If you see the penalties in the Companies Act 2013, there are very high penalties these days. But in the Act of 1956, the penalties were not that much high. So people used to do the fraud fine. We will be having a good amount out of the money which will be making the fraud. We will pay the fine. Okay, so that was the attitude which people were having. So here, not only the money penalty, but the imprisonment has also been increased. So this portion particularly of the Companies Act is a criminal offence. It has been treated as a criminal offence also. Okay. Yeah.
Like
So
from
anyone,
point of view of company, like
anyone else, if you can tell me that what, because the question is still unanswered, that from the company point of view, what can be the measures which a company can take in order to reduce the frauds? One
so the
is given
company
over
can
here. You can
distribute.
appointment of serious fraud investigation officer. It can be appointed just in order to investigate the things, or you can have a strict audit type of rules and regulations. Okay, so there are various other measures which can be taken. So I hope Kaushal will be discussing those, right, Kaushal?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, carry on.
Under Section 211, it empowers the central government to establish an office called Serious Fraud Investigation Office to investigate frauds relating to companies. Secondly, establish clear and easy to understand standards from the top to bottom levels. Third, secure physical assets access to data and money at all levels, including monitoring and using pre-numbered checks, keep checks locked up, have a voided check procedure, and never sign blank checks. Review all disbursement regularly. Instill an anonymous reporting mechanism such as an employee fraud hotline. All account reconciliations and general ledger balances should have an independent review. Conduct annual audits to motivate all bookkeeping related staff. Auditors shall report material fraud to the central government within 30 days. Immaterial fraud shall be reported to the board or the auditor of the company. Independent directors shall report concerns about actual or suspected fraud. They must also ascertain and ensure that the company has an adequate and functional vigilance mechanism. So, this was my part, and now I would like to question to these two questions to my class, that how well they have attended my part. So the first question is, what is the full form of SFIO, under which section of the act it is established, and by whom?
Excellent. Yes, come on. Who will answer this? Very easy. Only one, Abhigyan? Anyone else? Okay, Shreya, only repeated hands. Arpan Mishra. Jamima.
Yes, sir.
Arpan, can you answer the first question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is that? Why you've not raised your
Yeah.
hands?
कंफर्म नहीं था सर.
कोई बात नहीं बेटा, कंफर्म किसको कुछ भी नहीं होता. कंफर्म तो इंसान को अपना खुद के बारे में नहीं, यार तो कोविड का टाइम चल रहा है.
Yes, sir. The full form is the Serious Fraud Investigation Office.
हाँ जी, कौशल.
Yes, sir, it is correct. And what is the section and it is established by whom?
Yes, Arpan.
Sir, section is 211 of the Companies Act, and by whom I don't know, sir.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
Somebody else who would like to answer by whom it is established?
Yeah, Priyanshi, would you like to? Yeah, Shreya.
So central government.
Yes, it is correct.
Very good,
Yeah.
Shreya. Yeah.
Okay, so my next question is, what is the maximum term period for a default to be called a repeated default? The maximum term period.
Yes,
who will
come
be
on.
answering this?
Shahid Chauhan. Shahid Chauhan. Shahid, I'm removing you from the class then. Shahid. Yes, Chaudhary. Yes, Chaudhary. Yeah, Priyanshi, would you like to answer? Shahid Chauhan, you have not answered. That's why I just sent you out of the class. You came again. So answer this question now.
सर नेटवर्क नहीं आ रहा.
नेटवर्क अभी आ रहा है, अभी आंसर करो. सेकंड वन. रिपीटेड डिफॉल्ट का टाइम पीरियड कितना होता है?
I don't know.
हाँ,
Don't know, sir.
डोंट नो बोलो ना तुम. ऐसे नेटवर्क नहीं आता ऐसा क्यों बोलते हो? यस चौधरी.
पहले चालू करने की कोशिश करी थी, सब हुआ नहीं था.
अच्छा, यस चौधरी. यस चौधरी. बाय बाय यश. Yeah, Lakshay. Lakshay.
Yes, sir.
Lakshay, answer second
Yeah.
question.
Second question.
हाँ बेटा.
हाँ जी सर, एक सेकेंड. सर इसका होगा सर 2 months.
Yes. Yes, 2 months सही है क्या?
No, it's wrong answer.
Okay, Abhigyan.
Good afternoon, sir.
3
Yeah.
years, sir.
Sir, actually, I'm so sorry. I don't know. मैं आज class के join कर लिया. I was not supposed to be here.
अरे, it's okay, fine. You be in the class. Don't worry.
No, sir. I was
Yeah.
actually at hospital. Tanya, how come I came inside the class?
I invited you. I called you. I invited you, and that's why you are here. No problem. Carry on. You can mute and you can at least listen. Yes, Abhigyan. Yeah.
3 years, sir. I guess 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
Yes, it is the correct
yes,
answer.
Kushan, 3 years. Very good.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Fine.
Okay.
Yes. Carry on.
Tushar. Yeah. Thank you, Ishpreet. Corporate crime. Corporate crime is the conduct of a corporation of its employees acting behalf of the corporation, which is prescribed and punished by the law. Corporate crime is also known as organizational crime, white collar crime, and it committed by the individual within their legitimate occupations. So we can also say that now crime which is done in the corporate is called corporate crime.
Yeah, you can because not only means that it is again the taking benefit of body corporate, means it is just taking benefit of the legal entity, the separate legal entity of the business. Mostly the crime happens just because of that, because otherwise what is the difference? There is no difference between artificial person and natural person, except what, that artificial persons are created by law and they are managed by natural persons. So that is one of the things. So all the crimes, this is one of the most important ingredient, particularly in case of the corporate crimes itself, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So all the
Thank
crimes
you,
which are done on the basis or being in the company, you can say these are called corporate crimes, or you can say organizational crimes, white collar crimes. These all are the synonyms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can say that the basic rule is act is not wrongful unless it is done with a wrongful state of mind.
What you have called is a mens rea is a culpable state of mind. Actually, mens rea means if you are having something intentionally which you want to do, means unintentional thing is a you can say a mistake, right?
Yeah.
But a thing which is an intentional. So actus non facit. Reum nisi mens sit rea means. Okay, so mens rea is something which is the most important ingredient of a corporate crime, right? Carry on.
Speak next slide. Types of corporate crime. Basically, there are several types of corporate crime which is in the real world happen. Paperwork and non-compliance, environmental or green crime, manufacturing offenses, labor law violation, unfair trade practices, and financial offenses. Next, Ishpreet. We discuss here doctrine in corporation criminal liability. Doctrine of vicarious liability. The accused is blamed for the offense of another. This doctrine is based on the principle of respondent superior,
which means let the master answer. Doctrine of identification. It requires that corporation should take responsibility for the person having decision-making authority for the policy of the corporation rather than the person implementing such policy. The doctrine focuses on the fact that the intention and action of the company are the result of the employees of the company. Doctrine of collective blindness. Court have held that corporations will be held liable even if single individual was not at fault and considered some total knowledge of all employees in order to make a corporation liable. Doctrine of willful blindness. Under such doctrine, if any legal or criminal act is committed and the corporate agent does not take action or measure to prevent happening of such activity, then doctrine of willful blindness is applicable. Doctrine of attribution. It focuses on the fact that the guilty mind is attributed towards the directing mind and will of the corporation. Doctrine of alter ego. Someone personally which is not seen by other. The owner and the person who manages the companies and considered as the alter ego of the company. The directors and the other person who manages the affair of the company can be held liable for the act committed. These are the doctrine in corporation company liability. And here we discuss some latest scam in India, which is held in last 10 years. The famous scam, Nirav Modi scam, the Punjab National Bank fraud. It happened in 2001 and 2018. The company owned by Diamond Merchant.
Wait. What you can do is better because we have already exceeded the time and we had a very good discussion. These all, the entire presentation, of course, we have to share with everyone, right? So I request all of you to just go through this, right? While you are studying. So these are the various types of the latest scams which have happened, which I asked the very first question. So what has happened in this scam and how it happened? A very brief and very crisp and very good presentation is being prepared by this group, which will tell you this is something which is of a general knowledge also. Those people who are looking forward to just go for MBA or any other courses further, this will be very helpful for them. A ready material just to in order to know that what actually happened, right? So I would like you all of you to just stop your presentation over here because time is up, and you can share this presentation or you can run through the slides now itself. Okay, this is the one. What else is there?
Okay, there is also next scam, Harshad Mehta scam.
Okay, two scams you have considered, right? Only two?
And yeah, and there is also one scam, Mundhara scam, first scam of independent India.
Very
I
good.
want
That is the first scam of independent India is I think of the jeeps, the vehicle, the jeep scam I think happened. There were some vehicle purchased and all that, huh? So anyways, you can share all these with all of the class. It will be very interesting for everyone to just study it. So here we will stop, and I hope you have prepared your quiz also.
Yes, sir.
So what is the timing?
We'll open it at 3 or 3:30, whichever the class decides.
So yeah, please tell me now what will be good. Do you have any class at 3 or 3:30 or so?
No, sir.
So you can just do it at 3 o'clock sharp.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. So design it as such that it will open not before 3 o'clock and within 10 minutes it should be off.
Okay.
10 minutes or 10 minutes or 12 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever you have decided.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you all of you and thanks for participating. Let me take the attendance. Yeah.
So I won't be able to give the quiz. Actually, I'm on medications. I'm in the hospital right now. So at that time, I would be under.
15 minute ka quiz
at that time, sir, after 2, I would be under observation. So at that time, I won't be able to use my phone.
Okay, if you can appear it. Otherwise, leave it. No problem. You have appeared for rest all of the quizzes.
I can do some kind of assignment instead of that if if that's okay.
No. That quiz cannot be replaced with the assignments.
Okay,
But if you get time, you do it. Otherwise, no problem, because I will be taking some 4 or 5 quizzes out of the 7 quizzes which I have taken. Right.
Okay,
so
sir.
don't worry about it. Okay. So it will. It is up to you. If you can do it, just do it for just a 10 minutes work. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Fine. So okay, guys. So let me take the attendance and then we will depart. So Ishpreet Singh Walia, Kaushal Agarwal, Tushar Khandelwal, Abhigyan Gupta, Aditya, Anshul Goswami, Arpan Mishra, Jamima, Lakshya Larka, Naveen Chandlani, Saurav Yadav, Shahid Chauhan, and Shreya. Fine, guys. Take care, all of you, and have a nice time. Have a nice day. Enjoy your
Thank you, sir.